The late afternoon sun cast golden rays through the floor-to-ceiling windows of premier Mercedes dealership in downtown Manhattan, illuminating rows of gleaming vehicles that represented the pinnacle of automotive luxury. The showroom floor sparkled like a cathedral of chrome and leather, where dreams came with six-figure price tags. Marcus Chen, the dealership's top salesman, adjusted his Armani tie and glanced at his Rolex. Another record-breaking month was coming to a close. And he was just one sale away from claiming the company's Diamond Circle Award. His colleagues admired him, his managers praised him. But beneath the polished exterior, Marcus had forgotten something essential about the business he was in. It wasn't about selling cars, it was about serving people. The automatic doors whispered open, and a figure stepped inside. Conversations halted. Heads turned. Whispers rippled across the showroom. The man who entered looked like he'd walked straight out of a storm. His clothes were tattered and stained, held together by what seemed like sheer willpower. His weathered face was hidden beneath an unkempt beard, and his shoes, if you could call them that, were barely more than scraps of leather held together with twine. He carried a worn canvas bag over his shoulder, and his eyes, though tired, held a strange intensity. Security, Jennifer from finance, muttered under her breath, reaching for her phone. Marcus watched as his colleagues retreated like a receding tide, suddenly finding urgent tasks at their desks or discovering an immediate need to organize brochures. The man stood alone in the center of the showroom, a stark contrast to the opulence surrounding him, yet somehow refusing to be diminished by it. For a moment, Marcus felt the familiar pull to turn away, to let someone else handle the situation. But something stopped him. Perhaps it was the way the man held himself, not with shame, but with quiet dignity. Or perhaps it was a distant memory of his own grandmother's words. Marcus, never judge a book by its cover. The greatest treasures often come in the humblest packages. Taking a deep breath, Marcus approached. "Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to Premier Mercedes. My name is Marcus. How may I assist you today?" The showroom went silent. His colleagues stared in disbelief. Was Marcus Chen actually going to waste his time? The ragged man's eyes met his, and Marcus saw something unexpected there. Not desperation, but determination. When he spoke, his voice was rough but clear, carrying the weight of hard-earned wisdom. "I'd like to purchase 5 Mercedes trucks," he said simply. The silence shattered into barely concealed laughter. Jennifer snorted. David, another salesman, didn't even bother hiding his smirk. 5 trucks, someone whispered. He can't even afford 5 shirts. But Marcus didn't laugh. He saw something in the man's eyes that his colleagues had missed absolute certainty. 5 trucks, Marcus repeated, nodding thoughtfully. "May I ask what specifications you're looking for?" The ragged man's shoulders relaxed slightly, as if he'd been bracing for rejection. The Sprinter cargo vans, the 2500 series. "I need them for a project I'm working on." "Excellent choice," Marcus said, genuinely engaged now. "Would you like to see them? We have several models on the lot." What happened next would become legend in the dealership's history. For the next 2 hours, Marcus treated the ragged man not as a curiosity or a nuisance, but as a valued client. They walked the lot, discussed engine specifications, payload capacities, and customization options. Marcus brought water, pulled up chairs, and really listened to what the man needed. The man's name was Samuel Wright, and as they talked, a remarkable story emerged. 20 years ago, Samuel had been a successful real estate developer, living in a penthouse with luxury cars in his garage. But when the 2008 financial crisis hit, he lost everything. His business collapsed, his wife left, and he found himself on the streets. "Most people would have given up," Samuel said, his voice growing stronger as he spoke. "But on those streets, I learned something invaluable. I truly met them for the first time in my life. Veterans who couldn't find work, single mothers struggling to survive, young people with no support system. And I realized that when I had everything, I had been blind to those who had nothing. Marcus listened, captivated, as Samuel continued. For 15 years, I lived among the homeless, but I was also learning, planning, and saving every penny I could. I did odd jobs, fixed things, helped people. And 5 years ago, I started investing in cryptocurrency when most people had never heard of it. I made calculated risks that paid off beyond my wildest dreams. Samuel reached into his canvas bag and pulled out a tablet, expensive, incongruous with his appearance. With a few taps, he showed Marcus his portfolio. Marcus's eyes widened. The numbers on the screen had more digits than he'd seen in most of his sales combined. "I'm worth $42 million, Samuel said quietly. "But I kept living simply because I'm building something more important than a mansion or a sports car collection. I'm creating a foundation right path initiative to help homeless individuals get back on their feet. Job training, housing assistance, mental health support, everything I wish had existed when I needed it." His eyes shone with passion now, all traces of weariness replaced by purpose. "These 5 trucks will serve as mobile resource centers, traveling to different neighborhoods, bringing services directly to people who need them most. Medical care, counseling, job placement, shower facilities, everything in one vehicle." Marcus felt his throat tighten with emotion. Here was a man who had every right to be bitter, angry at the world, yet he had transformed his pain into purpose, his struggles into strength for others. "The other dealerships I visited today," Samuel continued, his voice taking on a harder edge, "they threw me out before I could finish one sentence. Security guards, threats, humiliation. This was my 4th attempt. I was starting to think I'd have to buy from out of state." Marcus felt shame wash over him, not for himself, but for his industry, for the shallow judgment calls made every day based on appearance rather than character. "Mr. Wright," Marcus said, his voice thick with conviction, "it would be my absolute honor to help you with this purchase. Your vision is extraordinary, and I want to ensure these vehicles are perfectly suited for your mission." They spent another 3 hours finalizing details. Samuel wanted custom modifications, medical-grade interiors, specialized storage, accessibility features. Marcus called in the dealership's customization team, worked with financing, and coordinated with the service department. When other salespeople realized what was happening, their mockery turned to shock, then to barely concealed envy. The total came to $487,000. Samuel transferred the full amount immediately, but he added a condition that left everyone speechless. "I want the entire sales commission to go to Marcus," Samuel said to the dealership manager, who had suddenly appeared, all smiles and handshakes. "But on one condition, Marcus. I want you to take $50,000 of that commission and use it to train your colleagues here on something more valuable than sales techniques: human dignity." The showroom was silent. Some faces flushed with shame, others showed genuine contemplation. But Samuel wasn't finished. "I am also purchasing 10 additional vehicles over the next 6 months for the initiative. But I'll only buy them here if I see real change in how people are treated, all people, regardless of how they look when they walk through those doors." 3 months later, Premier Mercedes had transformed. The Samuel Wright protocol became standard. Every person who entered received respect, attention, and genuine service. Marcus led training sessions on empathy and inclusion. Sales actually increased. It turned out that kindness was good for business. On the day Samuel picked up his 5 customized Mercedes Sprinters, the entire dealership staff gathered. The vehicles gleamed in the sunlight, wrapped in the Right Path Initiative's logo, a winding road leading toward a sunrise. Samuel, now dressed in simple but clean clothes, shook Marcus's hand. "You saw me when others looked away," he said. "That's rarer than you might think." "You reminded me why I got into this business," Marcus replied. "To help people achieve their dreams, whatever those dreams might be." As the 5 trucks pulled away from the dealership, heading toward their first mobile outreach site, Marcus stood watching, transformed by the encounter. He'd sold countless cars to celebrities, athletes, and business moguls. But this sale to a ragged man with a canvas bag and a $42 million heart was the one that changed his life. Because Samuel Wright had taught him the most valuable lesson of all. True wealth isn't measured by what you have, but by what you give. Glamour isn't found in designer clothes or expensive watches. It's found in the courage to be kind when others choose cruelty. To see potential when others see only problems. To extend a hand when others turn away. The laughing salespeople who had mocked Samuel. They never forgot the day they learned that assumptions cost them the opportunity of a lifetime. Jennifer left the company 2 months later, unable to face her shame. David stayed, but became one of the most vocal advocates for the new training program. And Marcus? He went on to become the dealership's manager, where he implemented policies ensuring that every customer received the 5-star treatment. From billionaires to first-time buyers saving for years to afford their dream car. He often told Samuel's story to new employees, reminding them that in the service industry, as in life, how you treat people when you think they can't benefit you reveals who you truly are. Samuel's Right Path initiative went on to help thousands of individuals find their way off the streets, providing not just resources, but dignity and hope. The 5 Mercedes trucks became symbols of second chances, rolling proof that one person's compassion could create ripples that changed countless lives. And it all started because one salesman chose kindness over judgment, and one ragged man refused to let the world's cruelty diminish his magnificent purpose. The biggest mistake wasn't underestimating Samuel's wealth, it was underestimating the power of human kindness and the cost of casual cruelty.